The fifth Henrico County police officer killed in the line of duty was Barry Wayne Maham. Barry was born in Portsmouth, Virginia in April of 1946. He was educated in the school systems of Portsmouth, Washington, D.C., Caroline County, and Norfolk before coming here to the area of Henrico County. He joined the United States Army in 1963. He served one tour in Korea, and his last tour with the U.S. Army was stationed at Fort Hood. He was employed with the Henrico County Police Division in October of 1973 when he was employed as a communications officer. He served in that capacity until June of 1975, where he applied to be a police officer and was accepted and entered into the 3rd Basic Police Academy. After graduating, he was assigned to uniform patrol and patrolled the area around the eastern section, or what we call today the South Station, of Henrico County around the airport. His last call for service was on August the 8th, 1978, when he was dispatched along with Officer Joe Fayhead to a call of domestic violence in the 5400 block of Raleigh Road. Upon arriving on the scene, Officer Maham was joined by Officer Fayhead and nearby a Sergeant C.W. Lewis, who was assigned to the aerial unit, our Metro Aviation. Also on the scene was Detective Mark Dominic, who is in a covert assignment, Special Action Force, interdiction of robberies and street crimes, and he that day had come from court and was in an unmarked car. They positioned themselves on the perimeter of this house on Raleigh Road, and Officer Maham and Officer Fayhead made an approach to the front of the house to investigate. As Officer Maham ascended the steps to the front porch, Officer Fayhead covered the front of the house and watched for any signs of anyone alerted to their presence. The front door opened, and Officer Maham was met by an adult female who came out and immediately started speaking to him, and Officer Maham advised why the officers were there. She advised that everything was okay and there was no problem. Officer Fayhead, who was positioned below the porch and in the front yard on the sidewalk, saw behind the front door, beyond Barry's position, an adult male, apparently armed with a shotgun. He drew his weapon, and Joe, pointing at the front door, told Officer Maham, his partner, "Watch out, he's got a gun behind the front door." Officer Maham drew his weapon, being left-handed, and dropped that by his leg and began to converse and talk with the male subject behind the door. In speaking to him, he was trying to calm him and trying to get him to put the gun down. The female adult continued to stand in front of Barry on the front porch, and Sergeant Lewis, in the back of the house, covering that section of the home, moved around to the front of the home to check on the officers' welfare. When officers left their car that day, there was no ability to communicate with each other due to portable radios not being available on this particular morning. So therefore, the sergeant could not communicate readily with them other than in person. As the sergeant moved around to the front of the home, The gunman moved his position from behind the door, pointed the shotgun out the door, and shot Officer Maham with that shotgun round entering the lower abdomen of the officer. Officer Fayhead saw the gun blast, heard the gun blast, and the door shut immediately as Officer Maham left his feet from the blast and went airborne into the front yard. At this point, Officer Fayhead continued to point his weapon at the front of the home, looking for any more aggression, and attempted to rescue Barry Maham from the front yard and pull him to safety. Sergeant Lewis went to his patrol unit for lack of radio communication to call in the officer having been shot so that help could be on the way. Within 5 minutes, 11 additional officers had arrived on scene. Tear gas was immediately deployed by a supervisor who had arrived in that first 5 minutes, and the tear gas going into the first floor of the home caused the house to catch fire. This ended up driving the suspect upstairs, and he then soaked down blankets and tried to ride out the tear gas and the smoke while hidden in the eaves of the house. There's a decision to deploy smoke grenades to offer concealment to a rescue team to get Barry from the front yard. Smoke is deployed. Barry is removed from the front yard. The fire division has responded. They're around the house, but any attempts to extinguish the flames are held at bay because of a potential armed assailant that could harm the firefighters. Several attempts are made to contact the suspect through communication on bullhorn and by some attempts to probe the home by police, at which time there's negative contact, and it is decided that the fire extinguishing will begin. Firefighters begin to extinguish the flames, and immediately the adult male assailant emerges at the top of the stairs of the home, coming out without aggression, and he's taken into custody. An autopsy later of Officer Maham would indicate and would show that the shotgun blast was at point blank range, that he was more than likely dead from his wound within 5 minutes. The adult male assailant was charged with his murder. The adult female was not harmed beyond what had gone on in the domestic violence incident. And Barry Maham, his memory, his ultimate sacrifice, his dedication of service and duty will always be remembered, and we pay tribute and honor to that sacrifice.